Welcome to Confident English, where we don't just study English, we study the courage to speak, to grow, to rise even when it's hard. This channel isn't about being perfect. It's about being real, being human. And today, I want to share a story that's personal, deep, maybe even raw. Because sometimes the most powerful lessons aren't found in classrooms or textbooks. Sometimes they come from silence, from isolation, from the moments no one was watching, and yet, something inside you kept going. Today's story is called, No One Helped Me Learn, So I Talked to Myself. And it's not just a title. It's a truth, a lived experience, a quiet rebellion against the idea that we always need someone else to save us. Because sometimes, no one comes. Sometimes, you're sitting in a room full of people and still feel invisible. You raise your hand, but it's never seen. You drop hints that you're struggling, but no one picks them up. You wait for encouragement, for someone to say, "Hey, I see you. Let me help." But that moment never comes. And little by little, the silence gets louder. Until it becomes a question. What now? That was me. I was that student. That person. That quiet soul who wanted to learn, but didn't know how. Who wanted to grow, but didn't know where to begin. I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the loudest. I wasn't the best. I was just trying, hoping, waiting. But time kept moving. People kept moving. And I stayed still. Left behind, not because I wasn't capable, but because no one noticed. No one asked. No one offered to sit beside me, to explain the things I didn't understand. And you know what's strange? When no one helps you, you start to believe maybe you're not worth helping. You start to internalize the silence. You think, maybe I'm just not enough. That thought stayed with me for years. I carried it like a backpack. It made me quiet in class. It made me second-guess myself in conversations. It made me avoid opportunities, just in case I failed. Because if no one believes in you, how do you learn to believe in yourself? But one day, and I can't even say why or how, something inside me shifted. I got tired of waiting. Tired of asking. Tired of feeling powerless. And that voice in my head, the one that always whispered you're not good enough? I answered it. For the first time. I said, maybe I am. And I began to talk to myself, not in desperation, but in determination. I said, let's figure this out. Just you and me. That was the moment I became my own teacher. It started small. I would rewatch a video over and over until something clicked. I'd write down words I didn't understand, not because someone told me to, but because I wanted to understand. I'd sit with my notebook and ask myself questions like a teacher would. Why did this happen? What's the pattern here? What can I do differently next time? I didn't know the answers at first. But I stayed with the questions. I sat in the discomfort. I stopped expecting perfection and started embracing progress. I stopped waiting for someone else to believe in me and began to do it for myself. I celebrated small victories no one saw. Like finishing a page in English. Like understanding a phrase I used to skip over. Like pronouncing a word out loud without feeling ashamed. And when I made mistakes, I didn't punish myself. I talked to myself like I was my own student. I said, it's okay. This is how you grow. I became my own encourager. My own coach. My own companion in the lonely parts of learning. Sometimes I still wondered what it would be like to have someone help me. A real teacher, a mentor. But I also realized I had become the person I was looking for. And that realization changed everything. Because once you become your own guide, you stop fearing the silence. You stop depending on approval. You begin to understand that your voice, the one inside you, is powerful. It doesn't always need to be loud. It just needs to be consistent. Steady. Yours. I started talking to myself the way a good teacher would talk to a student. Patiently. Kindly. With hope. I'd say things like, "Yes, this is hard." And "Yes, you're doing it anyway." Or, "I know you're tired, but remember why you started." And when the world felt too heavy, I'd whisper, "You've come so far already. Don't stop now." These weren't empty words. They were lifelines. Words I needed to hear, and no one else was saying them. So I said them myself. That's how I learned. That's how I grew. Not through someone holding my hand, but through holding my own. Through staying when it was hard. Through sitting in rooms with no help and still choosing to try. Through failing, and instead of quitting, deciding to reflect. Through being the only voice cheering myself on, and realizing it was enough. So when people now say, "Wow, your English is so good. Who helped you?" I don't know what to say. Because the truth is, I helped me. Not perfectly. Not all at once. But over time, with patience. With love. With persistence. And maybe that's what I'm most proud of. Because if you've ever felt like no one helped you, I want you to hear this. It's okay. It's hard. It's lonely. But it's not the end. You don't have to stay stuck. You can become your own teacher. You can talk to yourself with kindness. You can build your own ladder, one word, one lesson, one brave step at a time. And the voice inside you, the one that says, "Let's try again?" That voice is enough to begin. No one helped me learn. So I talked to myself. I showed up for myself. I taught myself how to listen, how to speak, how to believe. And maybe that's not just how I learned English. Maybe that's how I learned to live. And maybe, just maybe, you needed to hear this today. Maybe you've been waiting for someone to come teach you, save you, believe in you. But what if you are that someone? What if the voice you've been waiting for is your own? So if no one helped you, help yourself. If no one encouraged you, encourage yourself. If no one believed in you, start by believing just a little. Right now. Today. Because the truth is, you don't have to be perfect to begin. You just have to begin. If this story touched something inside you, if you saw even a small part of yourself in these words, then you're not alone. You're growing. You're awakening. And that's powerful. I'm so grateful you're here. This space, this channel, Confident English, is for you. For the ones learning in silence. For the quiet warriors. For the brave souls who keep showing up, even when no one claps for them. If this video meant something to you, let me know. Leave a comment. Share your story. And most of all, keep going. Keep speaking. Keep becoming. You're not just learning English. You're learning how to rise. And I'll see you in the next story.